Hello everyone, it's Lee here. So I know when I first started seeing mixed media works, I really wanted to do them and I had no idea where to start. I then started watching people like Suzanne Rowe's art and Maremi's small art and a few others that I just can't think of off the top of my head. And I realised pretty quickly that they do the same thing in every one of their pieces. They do it different each time, but they're doing the same steps each time. So I thought I'd create a little video because I've had a couple of people ask about do I have a process that I follow, and yes I do, and it's something that just developed without me even realizing that it was happening. But then when I thought about what my video, I thought about the artwork that I'm doing and I realized, hey, I do that every time and I do that every time and I do that every time and I do it in the same order and it works. So I'm going to show you today my 5 tips that make it pretty hard to muck up a mixed media piece. This will give you a good basic foundation to work on, and foundation is what is so important with mixed media. So I've just got this little book. I just found it now. I'd forgotten that I made this. This was really easy to make, and I'm pretty sure I have a video on this, but this is the only thing that's in it. And how beautiful is that? And that's, I guess it's mixed media, but it has no collaging in it. It's just paints and pens and stamping, and it's lovely and bright, and I really like that. So I'm going to use the next page. So it's 5 steps, and the first one is to prepare your page. And what I generally do is lay down a little bit of collaging and then some gesso. So you can use all sorts of things to collage with. I generally like to use a bit of book page, and often will use magazine page because you always get a bit of colour when you get some magazine page in there. Another thing that is nice to put in is scraps of gel prints. This is off a notepad, so I quite like the stuff around the edge. And then I have some transparent pieces of tracing paper here that I've printed on, so I might use some of that. And that's a nice one. Okay, so first of all I'm going to add some collage. Now I generally put the book page down first. Alright, so I'm just going to tear up some pieces of the book page because I really like the way the torn edge looks, and also I'm pretty sure that they stick better when they're torn. I'm not the only one that says that too. I've heard other people say it, so there must be some truth in it. Okay, I'm going to get rid of some of the white. Got enough white on the page as it is, so lay down some of this. Get a bit of I don't know what that is. It's not written in English. Well, German by the look of it. A little bit of that for a different colour. Okay, and then I'm going to put in some of this, which is a page off a calendar. I want the yellow. Okay, and I'm using matte gel medium to glue down my my papers with. So what I'll do is glue this down just randomly in different places, and then I will put some white gesso over the top of it, but not completely over the top. I'm going to just use some gesso to cover the rest of the blank page, and also just to blend in the edges of these pieces. going to put some of this yellow in here now, and I think what I'll do is put it on the right hand side. I'm not going to tear the green bits off, I'm going to leave them on there. Because what I have, which was from the other side of that piece of paper, is this huge big sunflower, and I'm thinking that can be my focal point. So sometimes it's good to have your focal point ready, to know what it's going to be, so that when time comes you know what other colours you can put into your creation. Actually, go this way, and you won't get you know, too much of a rainbow of colours. Not that that's bad, but I prefer to have everything sort of not matchy-matchy, but you know, like fits together. So like every piece belongs. Okay, so is that enough? Might put a little bit of that in, just the edge of a gel print. It's sort of got the same colours, so pop some of that in. Just thinking, where should I put it? Just there will do. Yeah, it doesn't matter that I'm getting the gel medium all over the place, because one thing, it's going to have gesso over the top of it, and also paint is almost, you may as well say, gel medium with colour added into it. So very similar qualities. So paint and gel medium go well together. So this is just a bit more of that same page. You just want to add a little bit of variation in there. Okay, so you don't want to cover the whole page up, you want to leave some of the page there. And I'm going to use my gesso, but I really want to put some colour into my gesso this time. I don't want it to be white. So what I'm going to put in there is a little bit of ink. I have a re-inker for a vintage photo. I'm going to put a little bit of that into my gesso. Just going to mix it on my gel plate here. So I'm just going to put one drop. One drop. You can see the colour that it's coming up now. It's just like off-white, sort of a little bit like it's been coffee dyed. So I'm going to put that around in different places. Sort of blend these bits of paper together by going over the edges. But also I want to get rid of that stark white. You don't have to do this, you can just leave your gesso as it is. It's only, you know, I'm only putting a really thin coat. I haven't added any water to my brush. I haven't cleaned the gel medium out of it either. Left that in there. Scrub it to get it off the brush. So this is a watercolor paper, so it's quite sturdy. It's probably about 220 grams, something like that. Now one thing you can do if you think, oh, I've done too much, you can wipe it away. And a really handy thing to do that with is a baby wipe, but like a damp paper towel will do the same, as long as you you haven't let it dry too much. I'm just going to go into a couple of places and take some of the gesso away. I really want those yellow bits to be showing. Well, that's nearly dry there. This dries pretty quickly. Okay. Alrighty, so that needs to dry completely. So I'm going to use my hairdryer to get that ready to move on to the next step. Okay, so that's nice and dry now. So the next thing you need to add is some texture. So it can be a physical texture in so much that it's something you can feel. You could use texture paste. You could use corrugated cardboard, napkins, tissue, paper doilies, or it could be visual texture. So by visual texture, it's something you can see, like scribbling, or even stamping, mark making. Today I'm going to use texture paste and this little stencil here. It has just started to rain, so I'm hoping it doesn't get too noisy. I'm not having much luck with my texture paste. My homemade texture paste that I used in my last video was no good. I think the container hadn't really sealed properly, so it had turned into a gum, so that wasn't the best. So I'm just going to add some in the middle and then some on the sides. Then once that's on, I'm going to dry it with my hairdryer. I'm just going to peel this off. So you probably can't see that at the moment, but I will hold it up to the camera. It sounds like that bird's enjoying the rain. So if you enjoy my videos, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and leave a comment, because I love to see the comments. And if you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. And that way you never miss out on my new videos. This is almost as bad as that other stuff. Not quite though. That was really disappointing. But I wanted to leave it in because I just wanted to show that you know, not everything goes to plan. This one's not too bad. Okay, so I've got texture paste across here and down there. I'll just show you. You can see it there with little white dots. I'm going to dry that off now. Now I've just got a little cheap set of watercolours here, so Montmartre, they're very inexpensive, and I'm going to put some yellow and some green on my page, and I'm just going to spray this with water just to loosen up the paint. So I've got a nice olivey sort of green here. I'm going to put some of that on, and I want it really watery. I'm going to let it run down the page. So I've got it really loose up here, so it should run down the page. If it doesn't, I just add more water to it. One thing about this is I love the way it will run into these in between the texture paste, the little bits, the knobbly bits that are sticking up, and make that a bit more defined. Add a little bit of yellow in there. And I've covered my spine up because this is a handmade book. I don't want any moisture getting down into this, because these pages are glued together with other pieces of paper holding them together, so we don't want that to get wet. If it was a stitched book, it wouldn't matter so much. It might get down onto another page though, so that's just entirely up to you whether you want to protect your book. You could use a piece of masking tape to, you know, line that and keep it safe. Adding different yellows. I'm going to spray some water on over here in a moment. Alright, we'll just see whether I've got enough colour on the page. Don't want it to get too wet. It'd be too hard to get it dry. Just letting that run down. If you put too much paint on, you can remove it with a damp cloth or damp baby wipe or even paper towel. Oh, I would like to put a contrasting colour on that, and I'm thinking something blue would look nice. So what have we got? Got cerulean, turquoise, ultramarine, phthalo and Prussian. I think I'll go for Prussian blue. And I'm just going to dribble some in a couple of places, not too much. So you can use a variety of different mediums to do this with. You can use crayons and pencils, ink sprays, watercolor as I'm using today. You can use acrylic paint, but if you want it to run down you need to water it down substantially. I've got a brush here and there. Get rid of that. Just going to pop a little bit in this corner here. I like my corners to be dark, so I'm going to darken the top corners up and worry about the bottom ones a bit later on. So I'm going to splash some of that colour on there as well. I just dip my brush in my water again, add a little bit more paint, and then just tap the brush so get a bit of spatter on there. Adding a little bit to the edge of the page down the bottom, along the sides, just with whatever's left in the brush, just so I haven't got that white edge. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to add a focal point. Actually, before I do that, I've got my gold watercolours out, so I'm thinking I might splash a little bit of gold around here before I put my focal point on. So as you can see, my gold watercolours are very well used, loved and used, and you can see what my favourite colours are. Pretty obvious, isn't it? I love to put this around the edge of the page too, so I just dip my brush in my water container, and I'm using whatever water was in there to make a nice little slurry. So I'm going to just spatter some of that on, and then I'm going to put some at the top of the book. There. Didn't mean to do that, but anyway, it's there now. Just on the top. it might mix with those other colours, but that's okay. And do I want it anywhere else? Maybe some dots. That'll do. Going to dry that off now. Okay, we're dry enough to move on. And I don't know if you've noticed, it's looking a little bit different, and that's because there was a bit of that watercolor left on this gel plate, and I just squashed it onto the page, so there's a bit more blue. And also my dots are no longer dots. They're more like comets, those ones. I put the hairdryer too close to them and it blew the paint. So we all make mistakes. No matter how long we've been doing things for, we all make mistakes. So my focal point is my big sunflower here. And I'm wanting to put it here. To me, it just feels more comfortable in this spot. I don't know why. I don't know whether you would agree with me or not. But that's where I'm going to put it. And I'm thinking I'm going to not put the whole thing on. I'm going to chop part of it off. And I also want to put on some of this, which is it's tracing paper, and I've printed on it. So I'm not sure what the gel mix media is going to do to that. So I'm going to use Mod Podge to glue that on. So I'm not going to just plonk that there in the middle of the page or anything. I'm going to take the elements out of it, because I want this butterfly or moth, whatever it is, to be somewhere here with my sunflower. And on this, in the background of this, there's some text, so I really like that. So that, I think, will go something like that. Or maybe down here. I like it there better. So I've got a dragonfly and another moth. So I like to put things up the wrong way. Upside down, inside out, back to front. And then I've got this left, which is an owl and a raven. So I could pop that up there. So I think that's what I'll do. I'm going to take the white edge off from where it's printed. Now this stuff, as soon as I put the glue on it, it's going to curl up. So I'll put down these transparent images first, and then I'll put the sunflower down. Now the reason I've chosen the Mod Podge is because it won't make the ink smear on my paper, because it was printed on an inkjet. There it goes, curled up. Yeah, and for some reason, I'm not sure why, but I'm glad it does happen. It doesn't make that ink smear. Is it just making a liar out of me? Is it smearing a little bit? Okay. We just don't rub it too much. Okay, so that bit on there. It's going here. So pop. Oh, yeah, it's smearing a little bit. So don't rub too hard. I don't have a laser printer, I've just got an inkjet printer. And I have printed things on it, on normal copy paper, and applied Mod Podge to it, and it has not smeared it. So I'm not sure why it's happening on this tracing paper. Whether it's something to do with the tracing paper, or whether it's something to do with the fact that I only printed it today, and it hasn't, what's the word for it, like cured. Maybe if I'd left this till tomorrow, it would be better. But it doesn't matter. Now you can put tissue down instead of something like this, or you can just draw on your paper. Okay, so that's fine. It's not meant to be perfect, so I'm going to put that there. Well, I've got the Mod Podge out, so I may as well just keep using it. And apply straight to the page. So I'm going to be gluing over that texture paste. Now I saw a great idea that Matteo used today, where he masked off the area where his focal point was going to go on the page before he applied texture paste, and then when he came to glue his focal point down, there was no texture underneath it, so it went straight down on the page, and I thought that was a great idea, and I forgot to use it. So we're going there. No, I had it angled a little bit, didn't I? I think it was like this. Make sure this gets a really good cover of the Mod Podge. And then once it's dry, I'm going to trim off those excess pieces. And you guessed it, it's time to dry. What do you think? It's looking pretty good, isn't it? So focal point's on there. This would have been normally part of doing the background, so the previous step, but I thought I didn't need it, but I'm going to add just a little bit of text stamping in here, just a few bits. So you can go back to a previous step at any time and add some more to it. So this just helps to fill in some of the blank areas where there's not much going on. So as you can see, it makes a difference. It just gives some interest on that page. It's best if you do it straight. So yeah, so that'll do for that. Now I've got my black Stabilo pencil, and this is the final piece that I'm going to do on this. The final touch to it is I'm going to put a drop shadow around this flower and probably around these pieces, and then I'm going to go around the edge of the page because I love to put a black edge on my pages. So you would, if you've been watching me, you would know that I do that. And any little things that need repairing like that, I take care of them at the same time. So I'm just using a bit of art glitter glue that I've got in this little bottle here because it dries really fast. That's why I'm using it. And we need a little bit here. There's always going to be the odd little bit that you miss when you glue something down. So this is a good opportunity to get all that fixed up. Okay, so let's carry on with the Stabilo. Doesn't matter if you run it onto the page like I do. It's not planned, it just happens. Well, you can see the difference between where I put that on and where I haven't. It's something I'm going to do with this, and I can do this because it's Stabilo, and this will also work with a watercolour pencil. If you wet it, it reacts with the water and makes a nice line. So this just lifts the flower up off the page, gives it a bit of dimension. You don't have to do this, but I love to do this. You can use your finger if you want to. You can also get water-soluble graphite pencils. So they're not as black as this, they're just the dark grey. I like to use them as well. It's a slightly more subtle effect. So this is the final step, so step 5. Which is your highlights. In my video description box you'll find a link to a document that I printed up with the steps, the 5 steps, and the possible things that you can use. And that looks like this. So that's free of charge for you. You don't have to pay anything for that, just making it available for you in case you forget. And I mean, you might just want to follow this video along, create your own masterpiece. I'd love to see it. Okay. Now, what else do I want to do on this? Anything? Smudge that a little bit. Spreading that pencil out. So there's still a little bit of water there. Don't need to do that. I'm just doing it because I like to do it. Okay. Now words. Do I want to put some words on it? So this would look quite nice with something on there. So I'm just going to look for some words. Okay, I don't have a lot in the way of stick-on words. And the ones I do have, look, not printed properly. Or they haven't been cut properly. Anyway, I found this one which isn't too sarcasm, because I've got the Tim Holtz snarky comments because they just appealed to me, and I think they didn't have the other ones when I was trying to buy them. So this one will work. I do this thing called What I Want. So I basically apply that to my art. Oh. Yeah, see? Don't stick on things when you've got stuff on your finger. It ends up on what you're trying to stick on. That's Stabilo. Okay, I'm not going to use that now that I've wrecked it. I need to find another word. There we go. I just found this. Right, sitting here, right on my table. What's it say? arty. That'll do. I'll try not to get my fingers all over it. I nearly threw this away before. Didn't think I was ever going to use it. Okay, so I'm just going to go around with my Stabilo pencil. Doesn't make any sense, it doesn't matter, doesn't have to. Okay, I was going to add a few more spatters on there. So I'm going to put some black spatter on there. Yep. Just going to use up the paint that's still on the brush. Darken the corners. I think we'll call that done. What do you think? I love it. We prepared the surface with gesso and collage. Then we added some texture with the texture paste. But you can also do stamping, mark making, put tissues on there, napkins, cardboard. So we did that. We created some colour and noise in the background with the watercolour paints. But you can use crayons, you can use pencils, inks, sprays, whatever you like. The next thing we did was to put in the focal point. So this is my focal point, and at that point stage I added these other bits in. So they could have been part of the background, but I think they're better if they're not covered in paint. So as I said, you can step back from one. You go from one step back to another. But other things that you can use this for focal points. Now this came from a calendar, but you can use book and magazine images, you can use stamped images, you can stencil images onto your paper, you can put a photo in there, you can use die cuts, you can use a paper doll or a face out of a magazine. It's endless. Like, as long as it's something big and it makes your eye go to that area, you know, in focus on one spot. I've got a little bit of sun there, sun on my sunflower. That's what you're looking for. And then highlights are just your finishing touches. With my stamping, it got put in as one of the final things. That's normally part of the background, you know, step 3. But sometimes you have to wait till it's finished to see what it's missing. And I just thought that it needed that text in the background there. The highlights, so going around the edge of the page, giving shadows to your focal images, adding some more spatter, all those sort of things finish everything off just nicely. Okay, so I hope that you got some good ideas from this video, and that it's given you the confidence to make your own mixed media piece, and that it's dispelled some of the myths, because as I said, I didn't know where to start when I first started doing this. I had no idea how somebody got a page to look like this, but it's got all this other stuff going on. So yeah, that's another thing to understand, is you start at the back and you come forward. A lot of the times what you put down first was never seen again, but you can see the book page there, and you can see the pieces of background paper that were actually the other side of the calendar page that this came from. So, you know, you catch glimpses. And yeah. So the most important thing I think I could tell you is to try not to get your page too soggy. Dry after the gesso and the collage, dry after you add all the watery paint, etc. And that'll help keep things together. Don't get hung up on it. Like, it's supposed to be fun. And if you're getting stressed over it, it's not really fun, is it? So just have fun. It's just paper. If you want to make something and you would like to share it with me, you can tag me on my social. Oh, I've only got one. I'm on Instagram. Or my email address is on my homepage, so you can send me a photo. I don't know whether you can include a photo in a comment or not on the video, but yeah, let me know how you get on. Let me know if there's something that you didn't understand. Don't forget you can download the information sheet. So I've got it here, step by step, and some suggestions of what to use. And I'll see you in another video soon. So have fun creating your own magical mixed media masterpiece. Hugs and cheers from Australia. See you next time. Hooroo!